Welcome back to the CEO Pod. If you're new here, I'm Jordan Ellis, and if you've listened before, you'll know this show is all about building the mindset and the muscle of a strong leader, whatever your job title. Now, last week we chatted career pivots and the chaos they can bring. This week we're drilling into something that's, honestly, at the core of every smart move I've ever made: having an emergency fund. Or, as I sometimes call it, your personal CEO insurance plan. And before you think, ugh, savings, boring, hang on. Because the surprising power of a little cushion might be the most transformative leadership tool you never learn in business school. See, the world loves a curveball. Job loss, a medical bill, maybe your boiler explodes the same day your phone dies. I'm not inventing this, by the way. I've watched it happen. Without a safety net, that's when our best laid plans turn to, well, panic. Your emergency fund doesn't just keep you from draining your bank account in a crisis, it guards your mental well-being too. I've seen too many ambitious folks run on fumes, hoping nothing goes wrong, because they tell themselves they'll save when things settle down. Here's the thing though, even a few hundred saved can change how you make decisions. It's psychological. Suddenly, you're not trapped by fear, you have options. Let me tell you a quick story from my years as a bank teller. Well, it's not something I ever forgot. There was this woman who used to come in, payday after payday, deposits always tiny, and withdrawals right behind. One month, I noticed she seemed lighter, less tense. She'd managed to save just a couple £100. And when her car broke down unexpectedly, those random deposits meant she didn't need a loan, didn't rack up more debt. That small cushion? It was a game changer. She built on it, eventually dug out of the paycheck-to-paycheck grind and started budgeting for the first time. Proof you don't have to wait to hit some magic savings number to buy yourself peace of mind. Okay, so let's tackle the big question. How much does your emergency fund actually need to be? The classic advice? 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. That's solid, especially if you have dependents or an unpredictable income. But real life? It's rarely one size fits all. If you're freelancing, single parenting, juggling side hustles, your safety net might need a different shape and size. Maybe 6 months feels impossible right now, or too much pressure on your shoulders. And honestly, with the cost of living outpacing half our paychecks, I get it. Here's a more flexible step-by-step formula. First, figure out just your true essentials: rental, mortgage, utilities, groceries, crucial bills. Tally that up. Then, multiply by the number of months you'd need to stay afloat if you lost your main income. That might look like 3 months for a salaried job, a bigger cushion if you freelance, or something in the middle if you've got variable hours. If your life comes with more unpredictability, kids, health stuff, high-risk work, err on the higher side. But don't get trapped in all-or-nothing thinking. And actually, this is something I think a lot about. Is it better to wait till you can hit that big target, or should you celebrate the first £500 you tuck away? Personally, I say start with a mini fund. Even £500 or £1,000 gives you immediate breathing room. Would you feel more confident making work decisions if you had that in your back pocket? Or does the big 6-month goal actually motivate you more? I might waffle on this, but for me, knowing I had just enough to get through a hiccup, not a catastrophe, helped me sleep a little better. And that adds up. Now, let's talk about actually getting that fund off the ground when your budget's already stretched. It doesn't have to be some huge, painful sacrifice. Set up automatic transfers, even if it's just £5 a week. Or use apps that round up your purchases to the nearest pound, funneling the spare change straight to savings. Those bits and bobs pile up, I promise. And don't forget cash windfalls, birthday money, a tax rebate, tips from your side hustle. Funnel them in. Motivation's a weird thing. Here's a trick. Give your fund a name. The runway fund, the not today life jar. Whatever makes you smile. Celebrate the milestones, even the tiny ones, and track your progress somewhere you can actually see it. Because half the challenge is psychological. Watching that number climb makes you want to keep going, even on the slow weeks. Thinking back to my temp job years, my emergency fund was mostly a battered envelope stuffed with coins and leftover tips. I cobbled it together from odd gigs, weekend shifts, even unclaimed coat check money. If anybody from the diner is listening, sorry, but that's long gone now. Once, it kept me from pawning my beloved jazz records. Sometimes your safety net isn't glamorous, but it's yours, and that's magic. By the way, if you missed our budgeting episode, we took a deep dive on picking a method that sticks, even if you overestimate your own willpower. Emergency fund or budget, it's about building systems you can actually live with. Okay, once you've got your emergency stash together, the work isn't totally done. Life changes. Maybe your rent jumps, you take on a new dependent, or your expenses shift. That's why it's smart to review and adjust your fund every few months or when something in your world changes. Don't let your safety net fall behind your actual needs. And if you dip into your fund, because let's be honest, that's going to happen at some point, make it a priority to top it back up. Set a recurring transfer, maybe monthly or quarterly, that nudges your savings back to target after you use it. The discipline lies not just in saving, but in replenishing. One little logistical tip. Don't keep your fund where you'll be tempted by impulse spends, but don't lock it away so tight you can't get to it in a pinch. A high-yield savings account that's separate from your main account works well for most people. It's accessible when you need it, slow enough to make you pause before unnecessary dips, and ideally, earning a little interest while it waits for your next close call. Eventually, your emergency fund won't just be a break glass in case of crisis pot. Once you hit that first goal, ask yourself where you want to go next. Maybe it's bumping up your target by a month or two, or layering other savings goals like retirement, a down payment, or an education fund on top. The point is to keep your emergency stash in harmony with your bigger plans, not working against them. Your emergency fund is a living, breathing part of your financial ecosystem. It's what lets you take calculated risks, switch jobs, or invest in yourself without fear. Integrate it into your bigger picture. Don't treat it as a siloed extra. Here's a little test. Every so often, simulate a mini crisis. If I lost my job, or the boiler and the car decide to break up with me at the same time, would my fund cover it? These stress tests aren't much fun, but they help you see if you're where you need to be. Adjust your goal as your life and career evolve. Don't set it and forget it. Last thing, don't raid your emergency fund for every surprise. Set clear rules. Unexpected medical expenses, job loss, urgent repairs, that's fund territory. A last-minute trip or new gadget? Maybe not, unless it's a dire laptop exploded and I work from home moment. Keep track of when and why you use your fund. You can jot it down in a notebook, a spreadsheet, whatever fits your vibe. Seeing the patterns, like I always dip in after car trouble, helps you spot coverage gaps and rethink your monthly goals. And when you do use your fund, make it a point to look back. What worked? What threw you off? Maybe you underestimated how long it takes to bounce back from a setback. Or maybe your savings target wasn't quite enough. It's not about fault, but feedback. So the next round, you're even better prepared. That's it for today's deep dive. Whether you're building your first £500 buffer or recalibrating your 6-month safety net, remember, every little step is progress. We'll keep unraveling these pieces together, so keep tuning in for more ways to lead your career, your money, and your life like a true CEO. Thanks for listening.